Oh, there I am. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure tonight. Happy freaking Monday, everybody. It's Monday, September 30th, 2024, as we all come together as a community, talk about those things in an election season, if we can, about UFO. How about that? Welcome, everybody. Great to have you all here. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to Disclosure tonight yet, give us a subscribe. And if you haven't given us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, think about it during the broadcast. Give us one. We appreciate you have your feedback, because the more interaction we get, more YouTube will share our podcast. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and take a look. And where's the Tom? Oh, there's the chat, but I didn't go ahead and create the pop-up chat. Oh, wonderful. Give me a... Yeah, it's been one of those days. Trust me, it's been one of those weeks. We'll get there. So I hope everybody's had a good Monday. Was it a Monday for you like it was for me? I woke up with a migraine. Actually, I got a migraine about 8 o'clock last night. Fell asleep in my recliner and had the opportunity to fall asleep and then wake up at midnight, still with the migraine. At least I slept through it. You got to appreciate that, it's always a... So I took my meds, but my mouth was so dry because I was asleep. Took the med, got stuck on the back of my tongue. Sumatriptan, the triptan, work really, really good for migraines. There was a recent study that came out on that kind of stuff. So I took that, got stuck on the back of my tongue, got some water, got to bed eventually. At 5 o'clock in the morning, it was kind of gone, not quite. So when my alarm went off, and I was like, no, I am not going to go to work today. So it's one of those things. Delta Echo, good to see you as well, my friend. Let's see, did I get the... There? Top chat needs to go to live chat. My volume is a little low. It should be better now. I may be talking quieter because of where I'm at, but I think this should help. You can see my teeth when I'm behind the microphone. How about that? On that note, all right, where am I at? Okay, I've got the chat up. We're all set. All right, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience, shall we? I know I'm running a little slow today, but welcome to life. We're never the same way twice. Some days we're better, some days we're worse. At least my ankles aren't swelling that much. It's a benefit. I didn't even get the sound effects started. What have I been doing? Oh, yeah, try and find UFO news, of which there's not a lot, but we have some to cover. We have some other interesting stuff we'll be having a fun with time with tonight in the next hour. Where am I at? Let's find it. Where are the drums? There we go. Nice one up. Band eventually comes together. Let's take a look who we have in the chat right now. Would you look at that?
Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. Is only part of this.
We have Kelly Brotner, piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, Kelly. Got Cosmo Fang, Delta Echo. Dennis Benke is here as well. Not Danny or Donnie. Oh, but Dennis. Okay, I'll take that. Let's go ahead and welcome Destiny Rocks, Eli McGinnis, Firefly Frankenstein, Jake, Coffee State Farm is here, along with Jake John Smith. Kathy Kelly Barote in her piercing blue eyes gets a second intro. We love to be blue. So. King Bull's here along with Mick Niles Guy. Made it around along with Paul Damon, Peggy, and Steve, your South Florida friends. Man, you lucked out in Miami. You completely lucked out in Miami once again when those hurricanes come. Miami, there. Plus, you're high enough in the air, but my God. We'll be looking at some of the videos. Thank you for coming here, Peggy and Steve, and your South Florida friends. Yeah, sounds like there was a crazy time going in the Panhandle and up from Georgia into South North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee. It's all a mess. Even Tim Burchett has gone and suspended all of his campaign funding, and all additional funds, if they come in, are going to go to the relief effort. We even had former President Trump going and stopping in Georgia before he headed up to the Carolinas to go ahead and pledge support and assistance. Not that the real president's there, the former president's there, but at least someone is there to go ahead and address the situation. It's something that every president used to do. How about that? Let me get off that podium for that one. Let's welcome Random, Reality Check VIP, Stephen Forbes Jr., Super Unknown, the Chromosome Cowboy, Tom Whitmore. Good to see you, Tom. Trent Allgood, Truth Seeker, and Wildcat Mahone. But sometimes it's not just about the people who are in the chat. Sometimes it's about our panel in the back. Remember, we're the only UFO show that actually has ongoing live viewer calling. You have something to say, you have a point you want to make, go ahead, follow that link on top of the chat. It's up there somewhere, I can tell you, because I put it there every time and pin it to the top of the chat. Join in and be part of the broadcast. On that note, for the people who've already signed up for our grueling task today, would you look at that? We've got our dear friend coming from the upper Midwest. We could call him Reality Check, but I think right now he's going under Hollywood Herald. How's it going, Harold?
It's going awesome here as usual. I got some ice on my foot today. It's been acting up, but as far as sleeping in a recliner and stuff, the last time I fall asleep in a recliner, I woke up paralyzed after I had a stroke. So I don't fall asleep in recliners anymore.
Oh boy, I can tell you that's not a good one. But ankle swelling. Did you twist something, or do you have a circulation thing going on?
It's that tendonitis deal I had. I keep trying to do too much on it, and it sets me back every time.
Yeah, I guess you could possibly consider an anti-inflammatory. You know, half of what do you call it? Benadryl or something like that, a generic equivalent at the time before you go to bed. You just have too much inflammation in your body. You need to figure out how to get that out of there. And I wish you the best. The best.
Yeah, I've got Benadryl. I thought of that too. So thanks. I'll go take one.
Yeah, we'll
here.
talk about it, man. You know,
All right.
no, you know, there's nothing better to have than a friend who's got worse medical problems than you. When you get old, because it's like, oh shit, I lucked out on that one. Trust me, I've got a lot. You've got a lot. People, our audience have a lot. And I appreciate you talking about it, because it just makes all of us a lot more relatable with what happens when you get old.
Yeah, but fortunately, I've got my internet still and stuff.
And ChatGPT, which can give you some ideas. It can't trust everything, but my God, it can set you in the right direction.
Well, I think that hurricane messed up the internet or something, man. I've been having all kinds of gimpy internet here the past couple of days, so. And that might be something too, you know, it took down a hub down south, right?
I did not hear about that, but I'm sure it did. If there's anything within its path and there's a data pathway, I haven't seen. Granted, I'm on the Pacific Northwest up on fiber coming from a former part of the Verizon network that actually got bought off before Revival. Either way, good to see you, Hollywood. Always wonderful to have you here.
Yeah. All right, carry on, my wayward son.
You better believe it. Next, we have our remote viewing targeter, our dear friend of ours, coming in. Oh, Laura Campbell. How's it going, Laura?
It's going great. Lots of interesting things happening in the news this week. With UFOs, I'm anxious to see the next few months, how it unfolds, and the different movies coming out. And so we'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time. I guess you actually hit the nail on the head on that one, because the truth of the matter is the only news we're getting these days are some sightings that are going on. So good call on that, my friend, as always.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at this later this week, because what's interesting about that shape they're calling the horseshoe, there was two objects, one years apart. The one shot down over the Yukon in 2023, and then the other one that was filmed over South Korea in 2012. They're identical. So we'll take a look at it and see what that is.
One thing I'd like to say on that one, it's good, at least from my perspective, when we see patterns, because patterns over time tell stories. When you get something that comes across at this day and age, and it's so different than anything that goes back in our short human record of overall humanity. Remember, we only know maybe 12,000 years, 14,000 years back at the most, and everything beyond that. Even though humanity's been on the planet, we've been far more advanced in the past. We don't remember any of that, but it's just a matter of when we see some of this stuff and we see a pattern in our little slice of time, for me, that raises the credibility higher, because we've got prior proof. In the picture you just held up a second ago, that looks very similar, a little bit different, but similar to, you know, that one looks like more like a C, a capital C, where you have the whole C going around. You just have a perfect circle. Not really. So it looks like a C with that little section cut out. and the one that you had is a horseshoe, and it is very similar, though. Yeah. So that's right. That
versus that one. They're very similar.
They are. And depending on the angle, if it's a 3D object, would be cool to go ahead and see. You took that, pulled it down, looked at it a little bit different. Could you make the one look like the other? And that's probably a high possibility.
I like to connect the dots.
Oh, we
so
will.
Next
we
week
will.
We'll see. Hopefully by Saturday.
Fingers crossed on that one. Wonderful to have you here. Well, let's go ahead and we'll get back to you in a bit. Michael Sokoloff, our man coming from the country coming from Canada. Country that, what was it?
You forgot. That's good.
Oh,
That's
my
good.
God. Doesn't pronounce the letter U. Sokoloff, right? Yeah, exactly. Michael Sokoloff. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's been so long, Michael. Where have you been?
I've been at several doctor appointments and talking to my daughter on the internet and lots of other things happening. Take a break because it's kind of slow. You know how that is when it's slow.
Oh, yeah.
But,
welcome to it.
but yeah, so I got my eyes fixed, got my hearing fixed. All I need now is to win the lotto number. Is to win the lotto.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's good. Those were the only two things you needed fixing. But great to have you here either way, Michael, as always. Also, if we put our eyes on Washington State, a little bit south of me, is he here, Nick? Are you going to say hello, or are we going to pass on the Nunya? Turning our sights, turning the world upside down and looking to Australia, we have our dear friend. I could say it's none of your business, but it's actually Susan Ford. How's it going, Susan?
It's going pretty good, Thomas. It's it's a bit slow at the moment, but I'm sure it'll pick up.
Yeah. Painting with Susan. I think we need to find that YouTube channel. You'd probably kill me in views. Just being honest.
Everyone keeps, I've got friends that keep saying to me, you need to do it. I'm like, I don't know how I'd go with that.
We'll figure it out.
Right.
But nonetheless, welcome as well. Spinning the globe around. Let's welcome in our friend from Southern California. It's a place you ought to be. Faze Will, how's it going, Will?
Hey, Thomas. Thomas, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, how you doing?
Good, and yourself?
Good. Hanging in here.
Yeah.
Hanging in here.
Good
to be here. Thank you.
Yes, welcome to have you. And also turning our sights on the East Coast, New York. The other person from New York. Let's welcome in Tia Loreno. How's it going, Tia?
Hey, Thomas. How are you doing this Monday evening?
Here. Present. Oh, I've got paperwork I've been working on for the office for weeks and chasing me home. I took the day off because my migraines and other stuff coming out of my neck that weren't going away, and spent a good 4 hours. Oh, it's so fun.
Well, you got a nice haircut. That
Yeah, last week. Cut them all.
looks pretty good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, we've welcomed in our back panel without the music, but that's okay because one more time. Mike, Disclosure. How the hell are you?
Oh, very busy Monday, Thomas, as you are well aware of. It's been interesting, and I think we're going to have a lot to talk about for our audience tonight. Should be fun.
Yeah. Just to be clear. There's been some drama out there where crazy stuff. There's this bodyguard by the name of Big Homie who potentially knew Elizondo back in the day, and the information didn't really line up. And this person kind of got into a war of words, probably, I'd say, maybe you'd call it. Misunderstanding with Patrick from Vetted and everything else? I have no. It's crazy. And he received, Big Homie got Patrick, who those two were having an argument together. Someone on to Big Homie, Patrick's personal phone number. So Big Homie is going after Patrick. And if that's the case and he's harassing him and threatening him, first thing you do is you call the police, because there's someone who is they're using a telephonic device to go ahead and make threats to you personally, and you have proof of that. That's when you call out the police, right, Mike, and let them know that that kind of stuff is going on, because there are specific laws against using telephonic devices for making those kind of actions, right, Mike?
There are, and charges can be filed, and criminal prosecution can take place. So, yeah.
Now, the interesting thing
procedure.
is he tried to FaceTime him a couple times and send him a couple texts. You know, drama at its highest level. It's kind of like, we're going to get someone on as a guest. They flaked out, and then it turned into a war of words in the public versus just letting it fade in the distance, because the public doesn't need to be dragged into this.
Correct.
So, I think I've described it's about accurate
Accurately.
So far.
Very accurate. Right.
So, in a post from Vetted, who was describing this situation that was going on, add video full guest. Here we go. Over on Twitterland that I've got up here, you can see Vetted's going and talking about the situation and what was going on. But Deep Prasad, it's interesting because isn't Deep Prasad someone who's like an investor and starts companies and is like a friend of Elon Musk?
He is a friend of Elon Musk.
At least that's what I've heard. I don't know who he is. I haven't done a lot of research in it, and I've heard reference to deep in the past coming from even Dave Altman.
Right, but what he's known for, especially on social media for the past few years, he is part of the anti-Lou crew and attacks Lou Elizondo mercilessly every chance he gets.
Well, he came at me with some messages in the past with regards to some lies that were being spread by RPK and Tupa. By the way, Tupa's now blocked on a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter because he's crossed the line too many times for specific events that have been evaluated. Either way.
Harassment.
Yeah. Push that off to the side. Blah, blah. Okay, attempted to FaceTime me twice, which leaves all of this stuff, leaves a record. So he got my numbers, now harassing me, attempted to FaceTime me twice, send me texts, et cetera, et cetera. So if that's truly the case, you hand this information over to your local police department and you let them know what's going on. That's where they can go ahead and get warrants and other stuff to pull the information out. Now, due to an unrelated matter that I've somehow been dragged into, as well as Mike, you've got Deep Prasad saying, Mike Thomas are allegedly behind this. We have actual criminals among us. Stay safe out there. What? So, because of some other stuff that's going behind the scenes.
He also mentions, I don't mean to cut you off, but he also, further in the post, he goes into...
we're going to get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Continue.
So what I had said was, that's a lie, Deep Neuron, that's Deep Prasad, and you know it. You wrongly threatened me in a DM, which he did, and now you are knowingly spreading disinformation. Both are against X rules, and yes, I did report him for that. I encourage anybody else out there, look me up, you'll see the stuff, report the guy, because that's spreading lies, and we're not for that. So, get past to it. Hi, Tom, your co-host reached out to my advisor and defamed my entire company. Care to explain? And all I'm going to say is, as I said to you in my DM, to be clear, I have no involvement nor interest in your situation. I have done nothing to harm you or your business. Please leave me out of it. So it's a mess. None of us want to be in.
Right. But he also went on to say that we are working with Lou Elizondo, and because he's anti-Lou, so he's trying to lump us in with the troll attacks against Lou, and he's targeting us with Lou, which he's been doing for years. So it's really nothing new, but that's part of it as well, as far as what's going on.
Yeah.
So he's acting like a troll, basically, with someone who's supposed to be a professional.
Yeah,
Not
but it's what you deal with.
Yeah, that's true.
Come
That's
see,
what's
come
out there.
saw. And there were some other statements that are made that were there. I'm not going to address them during the show because it's inappropriate. What I do in my evenings and what Mike does in his evenings, it's your own business, not mine.
Correct. That's a true statement.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if people stuck to the facts, there wouldn't be any issues, but they seldom do. They look to create drama, but we've talked about that on the show repeatedly.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it's about sometimes. Let's go ahead and find some drama and bring it to a new place. But if we now ground this and bring this back to the situation of disclosure, message. Thank you. Okay, good. I have permission has been granted by James Fox for us to go ahead and show the trailer and talk about it here on Disclosure tonight. So let me go ahead and let's bring this up. Let's have a good view of the latest work of James Fox. And this could be a really interesting culmination, one of his best pieces to date. I also want to quickly thank Wildcat Mahone for that super chat saying, let's go. All right, let's get this going, folks. Here we go.
Story. The Pentagon. In 2017, the New York Times published a story exposing a secret government program.
Oh, Mike?
Raise the audio, Thomas.
Oh, you're on the wrong audio. That's why. Here we go.
In 2017, the New York Times published a story exposing a secret government program investigating UFOs.
That story was kind of a catalyst for a lot of things that have happened since. Members of Congress started to ask questions.
Instruments report there is something there.
There are flight characteristics that we can't explain.
UAPs are unexplained. It's true. They need to be investigated.
Here we are having a hearing where just a few years ago, we didn't even acknowledge that these things were real.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
You're telling me people have come forward claiming firsthand knowledge of craft of non-human origin?
That's correct. We have sources who have asserted not only that there have been crashes, but there have been crash retrievals.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they human or non-human?
Non-human.
I'm sitting here today because the American people are being lied to.
We are the American government, and we are open, and we're going to be open about this.
What has been revealed,
non-human intelligence exists. Human intelligence has been interacting with humanity.
Is only part of the story.
The pressure's on. The Pentagon, the CIA, they're going to have to answer the mail.
Some are risking everything.
Have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life?
Yes, personally.
To uncover the rest.
What is being done to verify the assertion that the U.S. government has spaceships of non-human intelligence in their possession?
That kind of revelation unearths people's beliefs.
I would go to jail to say things that I've been exposed to in the program.
In 2007,
looks pretty compelling to me, Mike. It looks like a good summary of everything going on in the last year and a half.
It is. It's when things were active about a year ago when David Grush came forward and testified publicly. He seems to be covering all the highlights, which is good to see because it's been so quiet.
In one package, You know, and the thing is, too, instead of James having to go ahead and rely on clips from people who are experiencers or have seen things, have dealt with it in the public, now it seems James focuses on whistleblowers and the disclosure movement that's actually going on in the public.
Yeah, which the spotlight hasn't been put on by mainstream media, though it's nice to see James Fox covering that.
Yeah. You recognize that face, Mike? I think Nick should.
Hold on.
Nick, are you there?
I guess I'm here, and I don't remember who. Oh yes, I know who that is. That's the one that hacked the Pentagon.
Back NASA.
Yeah, NASA.
Gary McKinnon.
Yeah, Gary
Brian
McKinnon. That's exactly right.
I'm like, have you ever talked to him, Mike? I'm supposed to get him on the show.
I never. I was, but I never got a response from him.
Okay.
So we'll see. But now he's in James Fox's documentary, so we'll get up-to-date information from him, from James Fox, which should be interesting.
He can actually probably talk a bit more potentially about what he actually saw. Have we ever seen him really talking about this from a UFO perspective? I don't think so.
No, we haven't, which is why this could be very interesting as far as what it is that it's going to come out in the documentary.
Yeah. And Hell Put Off is there as well. And I believe if I scroll up a little bit higher, go back on this with regards to, no, it's not here. Got a video, a message. Let me check on this one from Harold.
And McKinnon was also the one to come up with the transcript of the alien cruise and stuff, where there was NHIs and we were swapping crews with them in intergalactic space or something.
One more time on that. Sorry, I was getting together. 20 seconds.
I'm saying, isn't he the one that cracked the NASA computer and found the record of all the extra crew and stuff aboard these non-existent ships that you couldn't find on the registry?
Was it non-existent space missions or something like that, right?
Yeah, with all these kind of weird designations and groups of people going back and forth. There you go.
Some people are trying. No, it's an IBM PS2, 1987. But yeah,
it's about that old.
Oh yeah, I remember when they. Oh God, where is it at? Let's get to this desk. Yes, let's bring that up. There we go. From the movie, Hell Put Off, we've talked about many times here on Disclosure Tonight, came out and said, I would go to jail to reveal things that I've been exposed to in the program.
I'm kind of amazed, Thomas, that he doesn't say what he knows, because he's so old, he'll just eventually die, Thomas. So I'm curious, like, why don't he just say what he knows and say, fuck it?
Well,
I don't care.
Let's get him.
I'll die anyway.
Let's get him. Get Bob Bigelow and a couple others together in a room. John Alexander. And let's just dump everything they know. Everything. Good or bad.
Admiral Wilson. There'd be one Admiral Wilson, right?
Wasn't there something going on about Wilson today on Twitter, or was that yesterday, Harold?
I don't really know. I just pulled that out of my hat and stuff, man, because he seemed to be, that memo.
It's not in my stuff.
Yeah. I'll look around. I'll look around in the background and see if I can find anything on Wilson, but I haven't heard anything lately or anything. Just that damning letter and stuff they keep talking about. Or he had a a little alien on a bookcase or something. He pointed at it and said, "That's what I got for all my questions I put down the ladder and up the ladder. They sent me a little toy."
Well, there was some stuff about Admiral days ago. People were talking about Admiral Wilson and Dr. Eric Davis. That would be an interesting duo to have publicly discussed to heralded UFO leak of the century. So that came from Richard Dolan. So people were going ahead and anticipating that who could be a great witness for this upcoming trial. No, Mike, I think you brought up something, didn't you?
Well, we have one confirmed witness that's going to be testifying publicly, Thomas. We covered it on the show because it was released recently. You want to discuss that individual?
Oh, we can. If not, we were just talking about who are the potential people who could be winding up as a witness. If you want to throw that person's name out there, go ahead. But I'm sure we have talked about, you could possibly have David Grush back again.
Potentially,
we could potentially have former Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet. It sounds like he's going to be someone who's going to be coming to it. We could have Lou Elizondo maybe there.
Maybe. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be really interesting. Now, especially with press and coverage that we've gotten lately from making his statements available, as he calls it.
Right.
With the book that he brought out.
Right.
He has a lot more notoriety than there was in the past. So that could potentially be.
Well, wasn't it Representative Anna Paulina Luna who said that the public, the American people, are going to be very happy with one of the witnesses that they have planned to come forward? Could be. She's talking about Lou Elizondo. That would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, it would.
So those are part of the potential of people who can come forward. You have an interesting clip to play?
Well, I do. It's from the National Press Club.
Okay. Oh, God.
When was that? Long time ago.
Oh, very long time ago.
But it has former
2001 or 2011.
Yeah, like 20 years.
Right.
And it's also these were just bringing up Admiral Wilson, right?
Yeah.
So we have Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell on meeting Admiral Wilson. Sound worthwhile?
Yeah, Edgar Mitchell was the one who had the actual Wilson Davis memo hidden all this time. And Richard Dolan got it after he passed away and came out publicly with it.
After Mitchell died, right?
After Mitchell died. But
all right.
The thing was, nobody wanted to come forward with the actual memo. They had it years before Dolan came forward with it. Nobody wanted to come out publicly with it. They wanted Dolan to do it. And he had possession of the memo from Edgar Mitchell's family after Mitchell passed. But he sat on that memo and didn't come out publicly, I think, almost a year after he had it. So
it's a pretty relevant clip.
Right. So let's play that.
I've wheeled out the old Disclosure Tonight 4x3 Zenith television for us to go ahead. I think it's a 20-inch at that point. Big.
Or a 19.
Yeah, some along sizes. I'll have to get out the pull it again. But
Hey,
either
you
way,
need to make your chat up in the corner 16:9 too. That's 4.3.
oh yeah, the chat's 4x3. Yeah, of course.
Okay. I notice people are cut off sometimes.
Well, I have to because there's a lot of people who don't have they have their picture on. It's only going to show the middle of the picture, and it's just understanding where it is, where you're going to sit in it. Just move yourself or position your camera in.
Okay, cool. Carry on.
Not a problem. Go ahead on that one. Say this here and here we go.
about 10 years ago, and I can't remember what date it was right now, when the disclosure movement was going strongly. I came here to Washington with a Navy commander by the name of Will Miller and Dr. Stephen Greer, and we were able to get an appointment at the Pentagon to talk about what we knew, or what we allegedly knew, what we thought we knew, and went and told our story. And the powers that be at the Intelligence Committee of the Joint Chiefs of Staff listened to our story and said, the Admiral said, well, I don't know that story. I don't know that that's true, but I will find out. So we departed, went on our way, and subsequently learned through Dr. Greer and through Will Miller and that those stories had been confirmed and that the Admiral had been denied access when he tried to get into the inner workings of that process. And we had confirmation of that, although that Admiral now denies the fact that this is the fact. So my story is essentially that. I do have no first-hand experience with the ET effort, except the fact that I know all of these research people that you'll hear from today, and those some who are not here today, who have spent a long amount of their lives and time doing research into the alien visitation, UFO crashes, and so forth. And I urge that those who are doubtful read the books, read the lore, and start to understand what has really been going on, because there is no doubt we are being visited. And as a person who is a part of the first generation of being a spacefarer of our civilization.
So that's a really big statement right there. Flat out. We are being visited. Nobody listened. Everyone thought it was a...
Right. That was the problem. Now, when they went over the story, as Dr. Eric Davis had put in the memo, they usually redact the private company that Admiral Wilson had gone to visit. But from then to now, it has come out that that company was in fact Lockheed Martin. Go figure. Big surprise there, I guess, right? Who knew?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Are we surprised? Well, more expected.
Right.
But that's just for the craft, the energy system, all the deep state, all the really skunk work stuff for how this shit works and how it gets the energy system. That wasn't done at Lockheed. All done. The truth on that will come out eventually.
That's exactly where they hid a lot of this research that they were doing, because it cannot be FOIA'd.
Unfoyable.
Right. And it's been going back to the 1950s.
The only way any of this stuff can be classified is if you have the director of the Department of Energy, or the director of Defense, the director of Energy, and you've also have the President of the United States, and all three parties must be in agreement for anything that's within that wheelhouse to be actually be classified. And
they've never followed through with that process and declassified anything to date.
All locked up. All locked up. Continue on here.
And gone to the moon. And realizing that I do, and many of us do now, that have seen the Hubble pictures from space, the universe that we live in is much more wondrous, exciting, complex, and far-reaching than we were ever able to know up to this point in time. And the fact that we have wondered, were we alone in the universe forever? Only in our period do we really have evidence, no, we're not alone. We are just one planet with intelligent life on it. And probably it is time, now that we are spacefarers on our planet, that we get active, because we're really universal beings. And in the long stretch of things, if we think about it in the longest possible range, we realize, and I realize this from my studies in astronomy and astrophysics, our sun will burn out in due course, and we have to be off this planet if our species is to survive. So anybody, any species, any planet that is on around the mainstream star like ours is, only has a finite amount of time on that star before it burns out.
Quickly, if we could, Laura, you have your hand up, my dear lady.
I'm sorry, I was just going back to the Davis Wilson document because I had remote viewed that a long time ago, and you had mentioned Richard Dolan. Actually, it was sent out to a couple different people. Grant Cameron got it real early, and he sat on it, and then they even sent one to Jimmy Church, a little note on it, and he missed it. He didn't even see it at first. But here's the thing. It was received by Grant Cameron November 2018. It was uploaded to the internet April 19th in 2019. And it was later reported by Richard Dolan. There was also Thomas Ray. I'll just briefly what I got early on in this. Eric Davis, he has his own set of beliefs, own agenda trying to get Wilson to confirm or deny. Now, this is my opinion, right? Because I remote view. So leading questions, he tried to catch Wilson on a lie. Accurate but slanted towards Eric's agenda. What is it? Belief that the beings are real. Others have conflicting evidence encounters that don't align with his beliefs. He's missing other information. Beings are on and off Earth, and that's the reality. Eric did some embellishments. Both walked a fine line. And Wilson's belief was, your belief is not the only way, and Eric is like, my belief is right. So they were kind of butting heads a little bit there. But yeah, I got immediately that it was absolutely happened. So wanted to share that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Laura. It's always great to have additional insight from people who've done research in the past. But let's continue on with this.
Yep.
And so our destiny, in my opinion, and we might as well get started with it, is become a part of the planetary community of nations, of planets, just like when we were much newer on this planet, and we found tribes over in the next valley or across the next mountains, and we started forming communities then and reaching out beyond ourselves. At this point in human history on this planet, we're now starting, and ready should be, to reach out beyond our planet and beyond our solar system to find out what is really going on out there. And the 20th and 21st century that we now live in, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution really didn't take off until the 19th century. And I tell the story to some of my younger audiences, particularly in schools, that my great-grandparents went across from South Georgia to West Texas in a covered wagon at the end of the Civil War in the 1870s. My family, my father's generation, was involved with going off the planet in aircraft. And less than 100 years later, I went to the moon. So from covered wagons to going to the moon in less than 100 years is a history of the development of our civilization in not our lifetime, but a couple of generations. And so it's time to start thinking in those terms. And particularly since now, in the 20th and 21st century, we suddenly find that due to our expertise and our genius in science and technology, we have exploded our population from under 2 billion at the beginning of the 20th century to over 6.5 billion at this point. And our consumption patterns are clearly indicating that we are utilizing our non-renewable resources at an unacceptable rate, a non-sustainable rate. So we've got a lot of thinking to do about what being an advanced civilization really means. But let's put all that aside for a moment, because we're here to talk about disclosure. And what I am suggesting is it is now time to put away this embargo of truth about the alien presence. And I call upon our government to open up like other governments have, and you will hear about that this morning, like the Belgians have, the French have.
Shut down the embargo of truth. And this is back in 2010, approximately.
The Brazilians have the orange.
You, Mike?
Yeah, 14 years ago.
14 years ago.
And we haven't really gained a lot of traction from then to now.
We've got some more talk about it. Congress is talking about it, right?
Yeah, David Grush came out. They tried to pass legislation for the past 2 years, but
we got some traction in the media, the Grush effect, that was completely killed off by Sean Kirkpatrick.
Yes.
Got people doubting again. And slowly we're getting the Elizondo effect now coming out of it from his book. Let's see if there's going to be something that's going to come out to counter that. Let's see if that pattern repeats itself again. Hopefully it won't. Considering Lou did say he works for the executive branch.
It should be interesting with the next hearing.
Yeah. Maybe we can get some clarity on that down the road, Mike. You never know.
Oh, I believe we will, Thomas.
Yeah.
You're
you
right.
Never know. Exactly. Let's go ahead and finish off this video. We've got about 30 seconds left. Here we go.
The Mexicans have all released their files. It's about time now that we do the same thing and become a part of this planetary community that is now trying to take our proper role as spacefaring civilization.
I think that right there is the reason why we haven't had disclosure, Mike. You just called it on. Play it. Let me play it again.
Community that is now the Argentines, the Mexicans have all released their files.
Right here.
It's about time now that we do the same thing and become a part of this planetary community.
Bingo. It's about doing our part and sharing our information with everybody else and becoming part of this planetary community. It's the same thing Reagan talked about, isn't it? What would happen if there was a risk, an alien presence that would unite everybody on the planet, is basically what he said. Same thing, kind of. Is that the...
This was at the height of the Cold War. Let me refresh everybody's memory.
2010 wasn't the Cold War, the height of it. That was already passed.
When Reagan made that speech at the
UN.
know. And after that, and you have to understand that at that time, Russia and the United States were locked in a decades-long Cold War. But right after he made that speech publicly, Reagan sat down with the president of Russia and asked him privately if there was, in fact, a threat from beyond. Would Russia support and stand with the United States? And
that was supposedly
absolutely.
after there was the story on that one was that potentially the president was shown some images coming from Hubble or whatever it was, showing a huge craft that was in one of Saturn's rings or something like that. And the president seen it, I think probably in Gorbachev even maybe saw that kind of a thing. So it was at that point saying, hey, look, if this is going on, are you in? Because we're going to be fighting to protect the planet.
Right. And Russia took it seriously because if you remember, 20 years earlier, Russia had their nuclear weapons activated from an outside non-human source. They never forgot that.
Oh, yeah, that was when they turned our missiles off, as Robert Salas has told several times in the past. But for Russia, they turned them on.
Right.
You can't stop the countdown. But it showed that it wasn't something that they did on the same people, the same thing across the planet because they don't understand us. Clearly, they understood who the Russians were, how they thought, the process was, and what they had to do to shock them.
Right, because the Russians were aggressive, which we see even today with what's going on in the Ukraine. That's just their nature. And back then, in the 1960s, the NHI decided to scare the living hell out of them.
Well, it delivered delivered a message.
Right.
Saying, cut it out because we can launch your shit and end your world, and it will be blamed on you.
Right.
Versus, oh, we can turn your shit off, and you're not going to be able to defend yourself. So in other words, what they were saying was, oh, wow, I never did this before. If you put the two messages together, hey, Russia, we can go ahead and launch your missiles and send them to the United States. And the United States, when they get there, guess what? We're going to turn all your missiles off and you can't defend yourself.
Right.
That's the full message. Right?
Well, Rush, yeah, well.
Has anyone put that together in the past?
No.
I never have, but if you look at it together, rather than separate incidents, you pull it together, that's a harrowing message saying we can end the world and decides who can defend themselves or not.
Right, but let's take a look at this from Russia's point of view for a second. If that was the message,
but wait,
and they received it.
We have the UFOs alert coming from the back chat. Laura Campbell says that event happened in 1982 over Ukraine.
Yes,
it was a Russian nuke site that was there, and they turned it on, and eventually they turned it off. Correct, Laura?
Yes.
That is correct. And it was 15 seconds worth of terror for those poor guys. And the minute they shut it off, the craft disappeared. And this information I'm getting from Peter Levenda's book, War, that just came out.
Hey, we have our own fact checkers here at Disclosure tonight. I love it.
Perfect. Comes in handy.
Oh, yeah. You never know when they're going to pop up, but if they do.
Slides and photos and everything else there, man. She's good researcher.
Yeah.
Good information, Howard. What's the next clip?
Yeah, I got a little clip.
Do we have
here
another
of
clip?
That one. Well, it's a 20-second clip, which is a little bit long, of Richard Dolan. I don't know Dolan, so I guess we can play 8 seconds. Pause it, play 8 seconds, pause it. All right, we'll go around it the hard way. How about that? So this is Dolan inside the secret meeting of Admiral Wilson coming from Richard Dolan's green screen studio that apparently he also uses. I did not know he used one, but apparently he does too. I thought that was his living room. Let's go ahead and bring this up. Video full guest. All right, bring it around. Richard Dolan talking about the secret meeting with Admiral Wilson. Here we go.
I learned about Wilson after.
All right. Recapping. He learned about Wilson from Stephen Greer. Truthfully, I would say Stephen Greer is kind of like that local pastor who used to be around in the neighborhood, had the little congregation and stuff, but then he figured out how to pull people in. And he turned flat out televangelist and left everything behind that was there before.
Yep. That's an accurate assessment.
Yeah. Not that I want to call this a religion or something, but, well, there are some. That's another fight for another day. Here we go.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, we're almost there. How they met with Wilson, and
I learned about.
All right, so Stephen Greer, can't even spell his name right. His Hidden Truth, Forbidden Knowledge, which he talked about his meeting with. Did Greer supposedly meet with Wilson?
I don't recall. Was that stated as a fact?
Which. Forbidden Knowledge, okay. Hidden Truth, Forbidden Knowledge, in which he, meaning Greer, talked about his meeting with Admiral Wilson. Of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in conjunction with Edgar Mitchell. So supposedly, based on what Dolan is saying here, is that Greer, which could plausibly have happened in the old day, It's before DC Muscle Wolf days.
Right.
When he went out there and he met with Wilson and he met with Edgar Mitchell, who we just watched this stuff for, and a Navy commander by the name of Will Miller. That's a name to look up. And how they met with Wilson, the whole meeting went down. So, interesting. Yeah. Interesting stuff all around as we scramble and search for what we're talking about today. Let's see if I have any useful bookmarks here. Yeah. I've got some clips out there. How about the flooding?
Well, you want to cover that?
That's what I've got up right now, Mike. There you go.
Perfect.
You read my mind. Yeah, the flooding, catastrophic flooding that's been going on in the southeastern United States. It's crazy. But, you know, you look at the flooding and everything that's been going on everywhere else around the world, and it seems to be happening in a lot of places where there's a lot bigger downpours, sustained downpours, putting atmospheric rivers into effect and delivering a lot of rain in hilly areas and different things, and everything just gets washed away. Harold?
It has to be the truth. China's been banned this year. Taiwan, get ready for a big one. Europe's been flooded. Eastern Europe, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, even Spain and Africa's had floods this year.
even in the Middle East. I've got one here. There's an interesting one here that's going on, where you've got a bunch of people that are going and standing right here, and the water comes right for them, and they have to go run away because they don't realize where it's at. There was a recent river that went on, so there's a lot of extreme flooding events. And I remember about a month ago, wasn't there stuff in the Swiss Alps or something like that going on as well? Hollywood,
Kathmandu, the Himalayas, they had big old landslides and stuff because of flooding there.
Yeah,
so it's pretty common. We just finally got our case. There's more on the way.
Trying to be able to shut off the audio. There we go. Different places of the world, of course, but similar effects going on. Lots of water.
Oh, yeah, and a big old gigantic factory fire in a chemical plant happened just east of Atlanta, I guess, earlier, too.
Yeah, chlorine and stuff in the air. They've declared an emergency from all that stuff. And unfortunately, our president and vice president are nowhere to be seen. None of your business. Go ahead.
Really, I've done a lot of travel down south in the States, and I've been to a lot of these towns and these places, and it's just, breaks my heart, seeing the devastation there and the loss. It's just, but the southern people, I'm going to say, are really resilient. They've fought their way back from the fires they had a few years ago, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they'll fight their way back from this too.
Oh, they will. It's going to be a long fight, though. There's been so much that's been destroyed that's never been destroyed before.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
all right. Someone said about
may not have water for months, man.
Someone said go ahead and take a look at what happened in Chimney Rock, North Carolina. So here's how it used to be. Here's how it is now. Oh, look at that. The hill's gone. Everything is just eaten away. Chimney Rock, North Carolina. I've seen this one going across the main stretch downtown, and what's going on. And there's nothing left of the street of the highway that went through. Maybe you can't even see little sections of it. It's pretty much wiped out. What else are we? Mocha, get out of there. another shot of where it was, what it was, and we've seen what it's turned into. Let's see what else we've got out here. Here's how it used to look, and here's how we're looking now. Not a lot left, is there, Mike?
No, it looks like the end of the world when you see it from that perspective.
Another one.
You've addressed this issue and spoken about it on the show before. A lot of this wild weather that we've been getting is a direct result of the magnetic poles shifting.
Yeah.
Right, Thomas?
Right. Anytime you deal with a shift of magnetic poles, you're going to see a destabilization of the overall atmosphere. So, you know, we've got stuff with global warming and other stuff. I would say more than anything, we've got global poisoning going on. We're poisoning the oceans with plastics. We're putting way too much, if you want to call it, now that they have these scrubbers where they're taking all the toxic tars and everything, or all the toxins that are coming from all these cargo ships moving back and forth. They're just taking it. They're not putting it into the air anymore, because you can see it. They're taking and putting it directly in the water. We're increasing the acidification of the ocean dramatically because we're worried about the oxygen, not necessarily, worried about our atmosphere. But the oceans are important because if we kill the oceans, we kill the freaking planet. So we are poisoning our planet, no doubt. But a lot of the swings and different things we're seeing going on with our planet right now, we've got 8 out of 9 planets, not Mercury not included because it doesn't have an atmosphere, it's too close, but Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. All of the planets are going and exhibiting some form of climate change right now. We even had the frequency of Jupiter changed. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on. You just have to look at everything, not just the numbers and the systems of what you want, anything else. Oh, that's just more rivers showing stuff. No, that's people trying to get around. In most of the place in the southeast, Mike, they don't have roads, they don't have airways, they don't have any way. They're out of water, they're out of power, and you've got the things that happen from the people when it actually took place, but then you've got the aftermath of, okay, you're now stranded, you're going to starve, you're going to be dehydrated, you're not going to have access to your medicine, or you're not going to have access to power for the longest time, you're going to run out of food. It's a really troubling situation that once again our country was not prepared for. All their vehicles are all trashed. Every vehicle that's there, and you're seeing a lot of older vehicles, people driving that range as well because that's what they can afford. So a lot of them are going to have, what do you call it? This isn't collision. What do you call it? They're not going to have replacement value for their vehicles. So you're going to have a lot of people put into just a really sad situation, dire situation. Yeah. And how many people had catastrophic flood insurance?
None.
Yeah. So this gives us an opportunity to take that $50-60 billion or whatever it is we want to go ahead and give to Ukraine. We could actually take all that money and put it back into taking care of the people in our country. Instead of taking all that money and blasting it into millions of people or importing into the country, we could take that money and give it back to the people who are citizens who are here first. It's about giving the money to everybody who needs it. It's not giving it and following an equitable action across it. It's treating everybody fairly, I would think. Equity likes to go ahead and raise up different areas and say they get help first. I think everybody deserves help at the same time on this one, Mike.
No, I agree with you, and you're absolutely right, Thomas. But let me ask you, whenever we had some sort of a natural disaster, usually the federal agency directly involved with that is FEMA. But since this has been going on recently, have you heard any mainstream news covering FEMA's involvement in these areas? I haven't.
No.
It's like they're gone. It's odd.
Yeah.
There should be a big response, and there's none.
Well, you would expect all the people who are in harm's way in what's going on. Why haven't we activated the military in all of this? Literally, if the National Guard isn't going to be able to handle it, shouldn't we mobilize our armed forces to come in and help out our citizens? It would make sense.
Absolutely. For rescue operations.
Because you're gonna have to clear the roads to get all these different places. You're gonna have to establish, create new roads, which is gonna in areas and dams and stuff, which is gonna require the Army Corps of Engineers to get in there and help on a lot of stuff. It seems like this should almost be like a all hands on effort for our military to come in and help a good section of the United States that's been really hurt.
Right, because if you remember when the levees broke in Louisiana, and that whole state is basically below sea level.
Yeah.
The Army Corps of Engineers had to respond to deal with that. We haven't heard anything like that going on now currently, which is very strange. There's no involvement. These people are left to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
It's devastating. It's a shit show.
No, it's beyond that, my friend. Let's see if I can find this.
Will, your hand is up. Go ahead.
I found it.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. The people as well, the pets, the animals, the dogs and the cats.
God, there was
They're
someone
suffering.
talking about earlier today. It's like there's people walking around outside naked. There's kids wandering around asking, where's their mom and dad? I think Tim may talk about that. If not, I saw that earlier today, and maybe it was either Tim or someone else talking about it. Let's go ahead and play this little clip here I have of Tim Burchett, and he's just, he's seen it. And this is the first time I've heard a politician said, don't give it to me for my pockets. There's other people that needs it.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett. I know everybody's seen all the devastating floods that have ripped through parts of East Tennessee and North Carolina. They're just horrendous. We're going to suspend our fundraising, and let's try to focus on what's really important in our community. It's the people. So please send any of that money, send it to these groups. I'm sending some to the East Tennessee Foundation, of course, Samaritan Purse, Franklin Graham's organization does great work all over the country. I just think that's more appropriate right now. And I know folks can give some. Those small donations are really what count. If you can't give, maybe you can take some bottled water to your church or food or supplies. If you can't do that, just pray. Pray and ask God to deliver these poor folks from this horrible, horrible tragedy that's come upon them, and that they find all their loved ones. God bless them. Thank y'all so much for sending me here.
Yeah, really quick. Someone did ask, where is Trump at? And I believe he was there earlier today in Georgia, and I know he was then heading up to North Carolina. So there is someone going out there to go ahead and try and let people know we care about him. Who has their hand up? Michael Sukloff, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, if you go to the FEMA website under current disasters, they list about 20 different locations that they're at right now.
Okay.
So, it's not that they're not responding. I think the reason FEMA was in the news originally was because it was a new agency and they wanted the public to know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And so now that's all died off and they don't report FEMA anymore. So, but if you go to their website, you can see all the places that they're responding to today.
Hold on, let me just find this.
I put the link in the chat.
Thank you. I got that. I also want to go ahead and search for this one. Donald Trump, I want to bring this out there, has started a fundraiser on GoFundMe to support Hurricane Helene victims. And so far, his GoFundMe has raised $1.297 million. So it's only a little bit, but Every penny counts. Let's see, what else do we have here? I've got the timber chet stuff I covered. Oh, Helene.
I grew up here.
Here's Asheville, North Carolina.
So on and off, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen devastation like this. It's been
Just everything is completely destroyed. All their vehicles, you got trucks, cars, vans, you name it. Everything is just wiped out. It's a total loss for everybody. Anything that's going to be salvageable, there's not going to be much left. Wow, that's just a huge section of the United States. Wow. I thought I just searched for Helene. Saw that one. Saw that one. Saw that. No, not that one. Yeah, this one was wild. This is when it was going on. Showing the water that just came out of nowhere outside of their house. And they're going to go, there's their first floor. There's their old clock on the wall. Probably got washed away. Everything just got wiped out. Looks like they've got their ladder up ready to go into their attic if they need to survive. So craziness. It's not crazy. It's just what happened. What else do we have here? There we go. Helicopter view of what's going on. Coming from the National Guard, probably. Soldiers work with rescue technicians in the Maryland Aquatic Response Team. They're in North Carolina. Nope, not going to play their music and get in trouble. Hollywood, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of those places there might have been Asherville or something. They had to rescue 54 people off the top of the local hospital, man. They were trapped on the hospital roof.
Yeah. But there, as what Phase Will was bringing up, it's not just people. It's horses, it's pigs, it's even little puppies.
I seen a pig stuck in the middle of a river earlier.
Yeah, I saw that one too, yeah.
I was left as a pig on a
Look at all the dogs up there trying to survive. Look at that. Doggy patrol.
I thought I was going to get up here to as far as Michigan for a while. It got close.
Yeah. Oh, jumping out to save the little doggy. Nice. Another one. Poor little puppers. A lot of dogs are going to need homes out of this one. It's going to be an opportunity of a lifetime for people to go ahead and find a way to adopt a pet, because they're all going to need new moms and dads in some of these cases. They may find their way back home, but there's a dog up there with the chickens. I love it. Great to see some animals are out there surviving as well. Where else are we? Want to get past Biden on the beach? So this is a lineup for the gas at a Sam's Club in Aiken, South Carolina. Wow. Wonder if yeah. It's places like Sam's and or hopefully Costco opens your doors to other people to help them out. I know they're usually pretty good on that. What else we've got going on? Helicopters, rescuing dogs. Yeah, just to show the aftermath of everything. You seen this one already? No, we haven't seen this one. Everything's tossed around. The built structures are there, but they're going to need total remodel to get these places up and going again. Restaurants, bars, churches, even the Wendy's is trashed. Everything. What else are we at? All right. Sarasota was... Oh, so it's something that opened up to let water through on Sarasota Beach. Locals have wanted it, and the hurricane gave it to them. All right, what else we've got? Yeah, we don't need to see that one. More destruction out of Chimney Rock. Yeah, all roads closed in western North Carolina. Everything. Stay home. This one down. This is in Florida. You can see it just destroyed one building on top of the next building on top of the next. Susan?
Yeah, I've heard the emergency services there are really struggling with people driving down to have a look at these things. The roads just really aren't safe at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, you've still got roadways crumbling away, and they're just not safe for people to go down, and they're causing a havoc.
One of the videos I saw earlier today was people talking that people don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have electricity, what they have for the charge of their systems. It's running out at this point. And
yeah,
then,
there are a lot of areas. There are a lot of areas that are cut off, and it's just, I probably would think what they would do there is what they do here, which is they drop in airlift things in like supplies and, you know, food and medicals, and cell phones are very important so that they have some way of communicating with the outside world, because they've got no cells, they've got cell phones, they've got no electricity, they've got no clean water.
Well, supposedly trucks who are trying to bring relief materials in are getting their tires knifed at where they're going to fuel up at gas, and then they're getting raided.
Oh, that's
there are
just
also
ridiculous.
people who are going into these areas too, and there's rampant looting going on.
Yeah, you're going to get that. You're going to get a level of crime, and that happens. That just happens. Opportunists, you know. But, the main thing is people that are cut off, you know, they drop in satellite phones and supplies and sometimes personnel, you know, medical personnel and whatnot, airlift some out, you know, et cetera, et cetera. People at risk.
Yeah. Go rescuing three more dogs that were locked up that couldn't get out.
Poor things.
Yeah, I know.
That's what happened in Louisiana with the flooding, with the animals.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of rescues that, if you remember, after the aftermath, people came from all over to go down there to get those animals.
See, and part of the problem is here, if I show this, you're going to see there's a huge atmospheric river that goes through this whole part of the country first and dumps a lot of water for a couple days. You can see it going and doing it now, right? And now you're going to get, here comes Helene. After all the water that's going on, as it gets close, it just explodes even more around it. And then it just brings it in and just dumps everything. And then after it gets to a certain part, you can see here we've got Tennessee, or is it, Kentucky, then Tennessee right there. It's just going to get slammed as it goes over it, but then it all just spreads out even past Iowa and all the way well past New York, which means you probably saw a lot of precipitation out of this, Mike, as well.
Well, yeah. We got a lot of rain unexpectedly in my area here in New York.
Yeah.
So you're right about the precipitation.
Yeah.
No one is safe.
Yeah, a couple more super chats came in earlier. I've been focusing on the show, and as we wrap this up, I want to phase Will, like, share, and subscribe, please. Thank you very much. $20 as usual. Also, Random sent us one saying, throughout history, suspicion has always bred conflict. The real conflict, though, resides in people's hearts. This conflict has just begun. Yeah. Oh, humanity has been fighting forever, right, Hollywood?
That's true. That's true. There's been disasters as long as there's been people, even before people.
Oh, yeah. And let's just say there have been wars going on in the Middle East as long as the Middle East has been around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And another bad thing about this, too, smaller places probably only had a 3 to 5 day supply of food. And even the bigger places probably didn't have larger than a 10-day supply of food. So you got no refrigeration. So you're stripped down to canned goods, man. And it's going to be the labels all peeling off, man. You don't know what you're going to get.
You're not going to know what you're going to get, and you're going to need to be able to get it to you because you're only going to be stuck with what you have in your cupboard. The grocery store has potentially already been washed away. So
it's like Mad Max with dog food or the zombie movies, man, where they shake up a can. You know, I think it's a fruit cocktail. You know.
Yeah. Or wow, Bill died yesterday. Boy, that thigh is looking pretty good right now.
I don't know if it'll get that bad, but if FEMA doesn't,
hopefully not.
That's a good question about FEMA, man. That'd be number one on my list. Where the hell's all the trucks coming in?
National Guard, Armed Forces. Because if you don't have enough people from the National Guard to go ahead and get it there, with them seeing what was going on, they already should have been organizing the National Guard. Yeah. So as soon as it happened, they'd have the people organized. They can get there, yeah.
Electric companies had a bunch of trucks and stuff sitting outside waiting to go in and stuff. I didn't see no.
Oh, this is beyond electric companies just going in and restringing. This is like there's no roads. What was there is washed away. There's no bridges.
Army Corps of Engineers in there with some heavy equipment, man, to make some bridges and all that shit, right?
There may be poles, but who knows how many are left?
Yeah,
for stringing the wires and everything else. Yeah,
the soil's going to be so loose and stuff from all that fine sand that even if you try to string something up, it'd probably fall right back down.
Exactly. But yeah, interesting day to say the least. If I can, it's been a great show tonight. Hollywood, thanks for coming out. Everyone, thanks for coming out tonight. Mike, are you there?
Yes, sir. It's been fun. Yeah.
Remember, James Fox movie comes out in this month, and it looks probably like one of his best ones today. Can't wait to go ahead and see it. We'll be focusing on sharing the premiere and other not the premiere, but sharing what we can about the movie and help him out, because remember, James Fox, he was involved with 1091 Studios. He lost the income for all of his movies. Any funding he had going for this one, he lost as well. So we were lucky to be able to get it out, but the more people that join in, the more people that are going to help him get back to where he needs to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun when it comes out and everyone will be able to watch it.
Oh, gosh, yes, my friend. Absolutely. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for your wonderful super chats tonight, including Wildcat Mahone, FaZe Will, and Random. Thank you very much. Appreciate your love and support of everything we do here at Disclosure tonight. Remember, every dollar that comes in goes back into our production fund. We are so humbled and thankful for everybody's love and support of everything we do here on Disclosure tonight. Along those lines, I also want to thank the people in our audience who have been around tonight, the people in our chat. Most importantly, I want to thank Chris, Dennis, Digger's been here, Digger Dog. Eli's been around, Jack in the shop, J-Cat, Kathy, Kelly Brothers, Piercing Blue Eyes, Kevin Clark, King Bull, Little Schisms, Little's been around, Mick, Shelly Montgomery, Stargazer's been here along with Tim Offman, Truth Seekers, and the Old Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. How about that? More importantly, I want to go ahead and thank the people who have been in the back and part of the conversation today. Who am I talking about? Thanks for coming out today, Hollywood.
My pleasure, Thomas. Just too bad that half the conversation had to be over such a sad subject, you know?
I know, my friend, I know. But it was a good conversation nonetheless. Laura Campbell, thanks for being here, my dear lady.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's always a good night when you're on.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, we probably had more stuff to cover from your side, but we did get into some different stuff. Appreciate your conversation today.
My pleasure.
You're indelible. Also want to thank Michael Sukloff, command coming from the country where all the U's are silent. I remembered.
Thanks, Thomas.
It's been so long, my friend. It just took a while.
Interesting show. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Hopefully you've had some chance to see some of the Aurora Borealis that's been around. You've had it on a regular basis up there, and it's going to continue. I also want to thank None of Your Business. Thanks for being here, Susan.
You're welcome, Thomas. I'm grateful and to be here myself.
Yeah, FaZe will appreciate your questions tonight, my friend.
Thomas, I'm so bloody proud of you and Mike. You guys are awesome. Love you guys.
Thank you very much, my friend. Absolutely. And what the hell for shits and giggles. Tia Loreno, thanks for coming out. You've been quiet tonight. Are you all right?
Yeah.
She's asleep.
Hello.
They're here.
Well, I think maybe she's fallen asleep because it sounds like
we ain't found shit.
Mike, thanks for coming out tonight, my friend.
Oh, it was fun. But let's remind our audience that on Friday, we're supposed to have scheduled Kevin Day from the USS Princeton.
Can't wait to ask him about some of the stuff that I learned right after it happened, especially about those E-2 Hawkeyes. That's what I'm going to focus in on.
Yeah, it should be a fun show for everybody. A lot to talk about.
I think so as well. And Mike, well, as we usually say at the end of every one of our broadcasts, besides good night, is...
Go back to Party City where you belong.
No fear, be safe, everyone. But yes, we'll catch you in the flip side. Good night, everybody. Love you. I need to go to bed. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.